지금 모실 주차이팡 교수님은요, 북경 중국에 있는 불교 대학교에서 불교심리학을 가르치기도 하셨고, 하버드 대학교 신학과 석사를 거쳐서 지금은 소피아 대학교 중국에서 자아초월심리학과 박사과정 학생들을 가르치고 계십니다. 그 중국이 어떻게 보면 공산주의 국가인데, 여기서 소피아가 그 2020년대부터 코비드가 터지고 나서부터 중국에 진출을 한 거거든요. 그 이후로 중국에 있는 학생들한테 어떤 변화가 있었는지 그런 말씀을 총체적으로 해주실 겁니다. Dr. Zhu, please. Welcome. So this is a mic.
Thank you, Dr. Han. 항상 안녕하세요. I was told I have only 15 minutes. So who is timing me? You're timing me. Okay. Try to be kind. Okay. I am the last one, I guess. In English, they say, "He who speaks last speaks the best." I doubt it. But I'm sure he who speaks last speaks differently. That's what I can promise. Hey. All right, let's see how this topic was given to me. I didn't choose it, okay? I was given this topic to talk about the transpersonal psychology in China and transpersonal education. There should be transpersonal psychology and transpersonal education in China. Okay. Anyway, you like it? Can we just stop here? All right. I actually wanted those of you who are tired to stand up and stretch just 1 second. If you want, stand up. Stand up 5 seconds. Stand up and stretch. Yeah. Whichever way you want to stretch. If you are meditating very comfortably, you don't have to stand up. You can keep meditation. Just a little bit. You know. All right. Feel a little different? Yes. That's what I said. He who speaks last speaks differently. Okay? And challenge. Okay? I had a challenge. 20 years ago, I was challenged. Actually, I challenged somebody. Maybe it's a mutual challenge. As a second-year graduate student at Harvard Divinity School that you taught, right? Some time, and I was persuaded by a Korean fellow student whose name I forgot right now, but I had an image of him, and he said, "Why don't you come and join us in common?" The in common means it's a peer counseling program at Harvard University across graduate schools. It's anonymous, of course. It's just a counseling program through telephone. So I thought, oh, sounds interesting. I just tried that. So after that, I kept talking to the incoming program. Usually after 8 p.m., when I went back to my dormitory, it's a suite with two other fellow students. So I shut my door and I started to call in common. I told them I have some issues now, relational issues. My wife was back in Beijing. I was in Cambridge at Harvard. We are having difficulties in relationship because of the physical separation, blah, blah, blah. And I also had some problems with a professor, So I kept talking to the in common peers. They were very nice. sometimes she, sometimes he. I said, oh, that was a great experience. You know, talking my mind, expressing my anxiety issues, and they were listening. I didn't know at that time that they were listening empathically. Okay, they were listening and empathically, and they give occasional some responses. So after that, for a while, for a few weeks, a month, I felt, oh, that was not enough. I need to see the person, in-person counseling. So I give up the in common. In common means we have something in common. We have issues, right? So I give up the in common counseling opportunity. I went to see real therapists at Cambridge Counseling Center. I didn't go to the Harvard Mental Health Center. I thought, well, later on, I'll do that later on. So it's close. It's closer to where I live. So the challenge, the very first session, I went to see this Cambridge Counseling Center. My therapist was a woman, middle-aged Caucasian, very typical Caucasian. And she started to ask me questions. As many of you, I don't know how many of you here are therapists or counselors. Can you raise your hand? All right. If you're a counselor or therapist, raise your hand. I saw a few hands with my myopic eyesight. I saw a few hands, not a whole lot. So if you in counseling profession, the first session usually is the therapist or the counselor is asking questions, a lot of questions. It's called intake session. So at certain time, she asked as a routine. She asked, "Have you ever tried to commit suicide?" I said, "No." "Have you ever thought about committing suicide?" "No." "Have you ever been so emotionally entangled, have you ever been so emotionally disturbed that you wanted to talk to people right away?" I said, I paused a few seconds. Then I said, "No." That moment, I saw my therapist was puzzled. Her expression showed me she was puzzled. She was bewildered. I started to explain right away. You see, I'm a Chinese student here at Harvard. We Chinese people are very well known for being reserved emotionally. We don't express emotion so openly. And besides, I am a meditator. I practice meditation every day. It's been going on for 10 years at that time. So she seems to be nodding her head, and she continued to answer to ask questions as intakes. And towards the end, she said, "From next time on, from next session, next week, you will see my colleague. My colleague will be your therapist. She is not able to see me. She is not able to provide a counseling to me because my answer to the 3 questions, especially the last question, have you ever been so emotionally disturbed that you wanted to seek help, that you wanted to talk to people?" I said, "No." I think that was the last straw to kill the camera, to kill the camel, to break the camel. So I understood she was not able to handle me as a Chinese. She being an American-trained psychotherapist, mainstream psychotherapist. And the next week I saw, and she told me her colleague knows yoga. She practices yoga. So I immediately understood what she meant. Cross-cultural issues. She is not able to. She thought maybe she didn't understand what meditation would mean, and she apparently may not have any meditation experiences. That's why she was referring me to her fellow counselor, fellow therapist. Is this the last? Okay. That's a challenge. So, do you see, did I challenge her or did she challenge me? Mutual challenge. It's a koan. Oh, it's a koan. Meditate on that, please. Okay? Don't worry. Take your time. My reflection, after that, I started to reflect. I started to reflect, oh, did I answer that question honestly at that time? Was I honest to say no? Never emotionally disturbed so much that I had to seek help? I thought I was honest. I didn't cheat on her. But later on, I had some memories of being so emotionally involved because when I knew my grandma on my mother's side passed away, they didn't tell me right away until I went back to my hometown. I was in college at that time in Beijing. Okay, so in the winter break, how much time do you have? 5 minutes, right? Okay. Okay. So I thought, oh, I was emotional too, but I didn't think I was cheating on her. I thought that was a different issue, because I wouldn't be human if I didn't cry, if I didn't express my grief, my bereavement over the loss of my dear grandma who brought me up. So when I knew that my grandma passed away, when I went back to my hometown in the winter vacation, my tears immediately went down. Tears came down through. I was crying right away. I said, "Why didn't you tell me at that time? Right away." Well, later on, I reflected. At that time, that was in mid-1980s. I don't think my mom, my father, they had to maybe send me a telegram. They didn't have even telephone at that time. Anyway, long story short. So I also thought, oh, my reflecting, I didn't tell a lie. I said I was not emotionally so disturbed that I had to seek help. So I thought maybe maybe that was because my meditation was so deep and strong. I told her, in meditation, when I told the therapist I practice meditation, in my meditation, I could be so grounded that nothing can shake me. Even emotional stuff came up in my mind. They came and go. They came and go. They came and went. They come and go. I watch them. They come and they go away. So I was never so swept by any emotional stuff. So I thought I was honest. And then, of course, later on, so could I pride myself on my meditation? Professor is nodding her head. Yes and no. Yes, I was not swept. I could be grounded, even if something very huge came to me. Like my younger brother passed away in 2004 in my last year at Harvard. That was a huge issue. Of course, I had the reactions, my body and emotion. So I want to continue. So spiritual bypass was that I was meditating. I could handle any emotional turbulence, but would I say I don't need any assistance? Later on, when I started to learn psychology, I thought that was probably spiritual bypass. I was not seeking therapeutic healing help, so I started to integrate. Okay, long story. I started to integrate meditation with counseling psychology. I started to see therapists, and I'm now also a counselor in Beijing, in China, in Beijing. I invented my method called grounding and communication. Grounding myself by meditation, but communicating with the client or with my spouse with anybody using a lot of listening skills, listening empathically and responding honestly. This is very humanistic and can be used in transpersonal psychology. So I came up with such a model. I'm going to forget about this because I don't have time. Okay, I will tell my story right away from my head, from my heart. So I ended up integrating my meditation with psychological counseling methods and approaches, and I have my own approach. So I think it's integration of the traditional Chinese wisdom or Eastern wisdom, grounding myself, mind, body, and maybe spirit, and also using American Western psychological skills to see human beings as human beings, equal, and honestly listen to them empathically, and respond honestly with some other skills that I'm not going to mention. Kelly may know more than I do. Somehow I got an invitation from Sophia that they need a professor to teach the Chinese students of transpersonal psychology. Master program first year, I taught them first year. The second year, they said, well, we are going to build a doctoral program in transpersonal psychology in Chinese. You are going to be the chair. Oh, my goodness. So I took them, I accepted them all, and I'm still working on that. We are going into the third year pretty soon. I have 80 doctoral students in Chinese program. Now we call it bilingual program, 80, okay? And I taught maybe 200 master students in Chinese program, counseling, transpersonal psychology. So the Chinese, a little bit back, the Chinese transpersonal goes a little far back. I'm not going to trace back to the ancient times like Lao Tzu and Zhuangzi and Confucius. It's too far away. At least around the turn of this century, there were four congress or international conference on humanistic and transpersonal psychology. International. Stan Grove didn't come. Stanley Krippner, he went there, and I saw him. So I participated in those international conference on humanistic and transpersonal psychology, starting from the late 1990s through early 20th century. Every 2 year, one conference. And then in 2015, when I went back from the States, in 2010, after I got my Ph.D. from California Institute of Integral Studies, CIIS, which is what I call a sister brother school of Sophia. And when I went back to China, I was recommended to be a chair to found the Chinese transpersonal and integral psychology association. I chaired it for 1 year, and we had an organization registered in Hong Kong. In Beijing, in mainland China, it was very hard to register such an organization. Somebody mentioned, I think Han mentioned, in China, as you know, we are still ruled by the Communist Party. They don't like religion and spirituality, this kind of things. However, they do want to revive the traditional Chinese culture, which of course inevitably includes Taoism and Buddhism, which again is full of spiritual practices. So I'm trying to advocate, I'm trying to tell the communist leaders, if they want to interview me, I would be happy to be interviewed. I would say, there's a lot of overlap between spirituality and the practices in Taoism and Buddhism. However, this is another story. I'm open to any kind of interview if they want. I think time is up, right? Already up. So I wrote a book. I wrote an article responding to Carl Jung on the secret of the golden flower. My paper was published by the Journal of Analytical Psychology. If anyone is interested, I can send it to Han or Kelly, and you can. My hometown. 항상 갑니다.